Long ago, a powerful faction began mining resources from divine ruins. They didn't just dig up the earth, they smashed ancient temples, destroying everything in their path, just to get valuable artifacts. The military, the laborers, the technicians, everything was geared toward the search for power, but the problem was that they weren't alone in these ruins. The angry guardians of antiquity unleashed terrifying monsters to punish those who dared to disturb the peace of the ruins. And that's when hell on earth began. The monsters burst out of the depths, grabbing the miners, tearing them apart. People panicked and threw their equipment, screaming in terror, trying to escape, but it was too late. When the monsters entered the human world, their bodies couldn't take it. They couldn't exist in a normal environment. They crumbled into a dark substance, turning into spiritual parasites that began to seek hosts among humans. And from that moment, the end of the familiar world began. Now, in the present tense, a storm is raging over the metropolis. Lightning bolts lighting up the sky, heralding the impending threat. Reports warn citizens of the appearance of mutated creatures that pose a danger to humans. Against a backdrop of rain and a nighttime city, the train arrives at the station. Where's our main character? We still haven't seen him. There is an atmosphere of fatigue and depression in the crowded carriage. People look exhausted and lost. Someone is about to say something, but stops halfway through. A young guy in a hoodie, immersed in music, stands out among the crowd. His name is Qin Shi, a senior just starting his adult life. He has no special talents. His studies were chaotic, and his family forced him to start an independent life in Chihuang City. Meanwhile, something strange happens in the carriage. A black shadow reaches for the guard, but no one notices it. While the guard sleeps serenely, a creepy creature with burning red eyes and a sinister smile appears behind his back. The people in the carriage begin to notice something amiss. Panic grips the crowd, and Qin Shi cries out in horror. Irritated and frightened, he demands an explanation, feeling the unsettling atmosphere affecting his nerves. A guard lies on the floor, a black substance spreading around him, and the passengers watch in shock. Suddenly, a huge monster with burning eyes appears. It growls one word: tear it down. Panic grips the passengers as they realize that the mutated life form in front of them is an evil, distorted creature. These monsters possessed people in the form of spirits, gradually transforming them into something horrible, driven only by destruction. Now the creature has completely lost control. It intends to destroy everything around it, killing anyone who gets in its way. The train is approaching the next station, and a voice announcement is heard amidst the growing chaos. Broken windows and a blast wave throw people away, making escape even more difficult. Some passengers literally soar into the air, falling forcefully onto the platform to the terrified screams of eyewitnesses. In the crush at the exit, people are screaming trying to get through, but fear of the monster causes them to push. Qin Shi finds himself in the middle of nowhere. Someone knocks him down, and he feels a sharp pain. The crowd rushes out onto the platform in panic. Cries for help are heard, but no one can stop the rampaging creature. Looking around, Qin Shi notices the abandoned items and pools of blood, realizing that everything has become real and not just a scene from a video. The monster once again roars, "Destroy!" and the bodies of injured people lying around are covered in a black substance. Qin Shi remains standing, preparing for action. The bare-faced creature declares that its goal is to destroy, expand its territory, and flatten the graves. Qin Shi realizes that he has the misfortune of running into a former criminal gang thug who has fallen victim to a parasite. The guy's gaze falls on the train door, and he realizes this is his chance to escape before the monster switches to him. However, he notices a grandmother and her granddaughter trembling with fear. The girl snuggles up to her, whispering that she is afraid. Her grandmother tries to calm her down, but Qin Shi realizes they can't get out on their own. He decides to distract the mutant to give them a chance to escape. Confidently, he tells his grandmother, "I'll distract him. You'll have a chance to get out." The woman is worried about him, but he smirks and replies that he used to be on the university's track and field team, even though he never won a competition. At the same time, someone is watching from the shadows. Qin Shi challenges the mutant by shouting, "I'm here," and then moves away with a sharp movement, causing the monster to chase after him. The monster growls, and its clawed paw sweeps over Qin Shi, who utters in confusion, "Huh?" Before he can dodge, he realizes he was too slow when the mutant yells, "Destroy" again, and swings in. Meanwhile, outside, the grandmother and the girl find help, and one grandmother exclaims that there is another survivor. Meanwhile, Qin Shi receives a powerful punch that knocks him down. His body flies backward, hitting the floor with a clatter. Lying on the floor, he breathes heavily while the monster looks at him with disdain. The guy realizes he miscalculated and clearly miscalculated his strength. His gaze fogs up, and behind the glass, he sees his grandmother and granddaughter, who are already safe. The girl screams that her older brother is still in there, begging to be saved. At that moment, a group of fighters appear, stating that the mutated monster will be turned over to the security department and forbidding anyone to interfere without orders. A dark substance with a golden glow rushes downward. The guy lying on the floor realizes he is in a similar situation, and even at that moment, he can't believe what is happening. His fingers shake, but he clenches his hand into a fist, showing he hasn't given up yet. He doesn't want to fall for nothing. After all, his life is just beginning. But the shadow of the monster is already looming over him. In his hazy mind, memories resurface. His childhood, comparisons with the son of his neighbors, who was always held up as an example. The past keeps popping up in his mind, the scene with the bullies, who grinningly suggest he befriend them. Another flashback is of a young man trying to confess his feelings to a girl, but she, glowering, announces that she is already in love with someone else. He feels rage and pain fill his heart, resentment builds up in his chest, and he spits out blood with force. His chest heaves heavily, his breathing becomes intermittent. The inner voice whispers one wish, to win at least once in his life. And meanwhile, the monster prepares to strike a decisive blow. But suddenly, a golden glow rushes towards the monster and the young man. Qin falls to the ground, breathing heavily, but inside him, his determination to fight to the end is ignited. He wants to win at least once. The mutated enemy wastes no time and rushes to attack, raising a huge wave of destructive force. However, something new appears in front of him, a black creature with demonic features, which now takes possession of the young man's body. In front of the polar bear monster, a new opponent appears, in the form of a demon. The young man realizes that his body is changing. He is no longer the same person he used to be. The white-skinned mutant swings around with vigor, trying to destroy the new opponent. But in response, the black creature counter-strikes, its claws and fists glistening with pure fury. A voice utters, "What I will give you is," but the phrase breaks off, leaving intrigue. The powerful creature in armor rips apart its opponent in a show of strength. It says one word, "Hope," to the young man. The white monster is furious, but his body begins to crack from the force of the blow. The dragon-like creature activates its claws, which begin to glow with a red light. It explains, these claws can break the bond between man and his parasitic spirit. Claws slamming into walls, tearing everything in their path, creating chaos. Ha 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 ha! Time for surgery. The creature laughs, preparing for the next blow. It makes a swift dash, shouting out, "Now you're free." The freed person begins to dissolve into dark energy, disappearing into the unknown. He lands on the seat like he does it every day. Soon the demon notices that a parasitic entity, in the form of a polar bear, begins to emerge from the man. The polar bear sees the demon and immediately starts running away from it. But the demon will not let the polar bear go, because for him he is food, very high quality and fast food. "I'm sorry, bear," but the demon can't hold back any longer. After swallowing the bear, he began to chew it. After a while, he exhaled, saying it was pretty disgusting. Soldiers soon arrive, reporting that the target is in sight. The demon realized they were soldiers from the department. As the soldiers approached, the demon suddenly sensed something. At this critical moment, the man inside him began to unleash. Looking at his appearance in the reflection of the window, Qin was shocked. He grasped his head in horror, for he did not understand what was happening. Qin didn't understand what he was doing here, why he had horns on his head, and anyway, what manga was this cosplay from? The soldiers looked at the guy like he was an idiot, and Qin himself noticed the unconscious man. He was shocked. Was it really his doing? At this moment, Qin suggested that he might have been infected. At this moment, the parasite itself appeared, saying that it was the one who had saved Qin. Qin was shocked that the demon had killed the man, but the man claimed that the bandit was just unconscious. At the same second, the soldiers launched their attack, firing at Qin. The young man deftly dodged bullets or darts. "I don't get shot at every day. I have no idea what it is. Lol." Besides, Qin didn't understand who this demon was, after all, the one controlling his body. But still, one of the bullets hit the guy's body, and he claimed that the synchronization was not fully completed. The shot came right in his ass, making everyone suddenly blush with embarrassment. The soldier stated that the darts were not at all effective against him. In that case, he decided to use a grenade. Qin realized that he needed to get out of this place as soon as possible. But what to do? That grenade is coming right at him. "Ah, I don't give a shit. I'll take this bullet off my arm and run out the window. Let them think I'm cool." Well, at least I think Qin thought the same way. A repulsed grenade, meanwhile, exploded near the soldiers. On Qinshi himself, he broke through the wall and escaped from this place. After a while, more soldiers gathered, and an important big shot came with a strange dog. This big shot was the captain of the infantry, who inquired about what had happened. The girl couldn't understand how they could have missed that guy. The soldiers explained that the target was very agile. She turned to the soldier behind her, disappointed that she had given him a chance to prove himself, but he hadn't done what she wanted. The dog that came with the girl started sniffing out the train attacker. The girl asked to give her the results as soon as possible because they didn't have much time. The dog didn't like that the girl bends down to talk to him every time because it looks exhausting. Either way, the dog needs to return to his original body. At that moment, the transformation began, and soon a very ordinary-looking man appeared before us. The girl thought that being in the form of an animal was more acceptable, but the man with white hair thought that it was more comfortable for him to communicate with her, and that it was a way to show his horror. The man assumed from the claws and markings that this was the one they were looking for. The girl asked, "What about the distance?" The man explained that the spirit had just entered the human body and was unstable, so it couldn't go far. The girl was glad to have this man by her side now, calling him a great mystic, for the Bureau of Investigation was full of trash that needed to be fired. She could use a talent like him. But the man claimed he wasn't omnipotent. He couldn't be good at everything. The white-haired man explained that each mystic has their own unique abilities. At birth, they are different from ordinary people and are uncomfortable joining various organizations. In any case, the man asked the girl to wait and afterward sat down on the seat. The girl thought the man had decided to rest, but the man asked for silence, for he could feel his energy. Since he took the job, it would cost extra money to find that person. The girl said not to worry, he would get what he wanted. In that case, the man decided to start. As the man sat back down, he could feel a certain creature skittering across the rooftops like a monkey. He could even see its back, and soon he saw it start to emerge from the man's body. And when the man should have seen our boy Qin, the white-haired man was preceded by the demon himself, clearly displeased at the fact that he was watching them. The demon began to grimace in all sorts of ways and show various funny and ridiculous faces. The man was in a stupor, but he was even more horrified. In the next moment, that demon attacked the man, biting into his body, and the man was dissatisfied that the target was very creepy. The girl noticed something wrong. She looked over and saw that the white-haired man was foaming at the mouth. Whether it was because he felt fear or because the demon had pumped something into his mouth, either way the man found his intended target. The girl was shocked that he'd made it, and the man lowered his head. He was horrified by what he had just seen. In the meantime, the girl asked someone to call for help because the man with white hair was very sick. The man was already losing consciousness, in which case the girl took hold of his clothes to tell him the exact location of their target. The man was on edge, but he managed to say it was the 9th Circuit. After saying that, he passed out. The girl was clearly frustrated, but soon summoned another helper who gave off sparks. She ordered her subordinate to chase the target, and the aide understood. The next second, the man was tearing after Qin, and the girl noticed that when it came to speed, no one could outrun the flying squirrel.